Hello, we'll be discussing these five important concepts from infrastructure. These are very important for your upcoming examination. The ones that we'll be discussing are urban infrastructure, national urban digital mission, logistics sector, we'll look into the national logistics policy, PM-Gati Shakti, very important, and on the railways, we'll be talking about CAG's report on Indian railways. We'll be looking into these five. Let's get started. The first is urban infrastructure. So, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, so name of the ministry is very important. The ministry commemorated the 6 years of the three transformative urban missions. Now, these urban missions are the SCM, that is the Smart Cities mission, then it is PMAY-U, which is Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, okay, and then the AMRUT. What is AMRUT? AMRUT is the Atal Mission for Urban Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. So, you need to understand about these three important initiatives by the government, very important from the exams point of view. Let's first quickly discuss the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban. Okay, please don't forget the urban here since we're talking about the urban infrastructure here. So basically it addresses urban housing shortage among the economically weaker section. So very important, amongst the economically weaker section, and also the MIG group. What is the MIG group? It is the middle income group. Okay. So the categories of the people belonging to these two groups, along with what? Along with the slum dwellers. So these three are very important points. Remember EWS, MIG and the slum dwellers by ensuring a Pakka house to all by the year 2022. Very important. Okay. Now the components of the scheme are that in situ slum redevelopment, credit link subsidy scheme, affordable housing in partnership, and beneficiary led individual house construction or beneficiary led individual house enhancement. So these are the important points under PMAY urban. Okay. Now let's similarly look into the others. This is Atal Mission for Urban Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. Now this is the first focused national water mission. Okay, which aims to provide basic services like water supply, sewage, etc. to household and build amenities in the cities. Now this has selected how many? 500 cities have been selected for this task. Okay. What is the progress report? Even the progress reports are very important. So you have to understand that among these 500 cities that have been chosen, in these 105 lakh households, 105 lakh households have now water tap and 78 lakh households have now what? Sewage connections. So remember this bit, and 88 lakh street lights have been replaced with energy efficient, that is LED lights, against the target of 101 lakh, leading to energy saving and reduction in the carbon dioxide emissions. Okay, very important. And now let's also look into SCM, which is what? Which is Smart Cities Mission. It was launched in the year 2015 as a joint effort of the two ministries, that is, it is talking about Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, plus it's also going to be dealing with with the state governments and also the union governments, the union territory governments pertaining to the same work. So Ministry of Housing Affairs plus the state governments and the union territory governments. Now it has under it 100 cities and towns in different states and union territories. Please understand the focus is not just on the state but also on the union territories. Okay, what is the objective of the SCM mission? That is the Smart Cities mission. The objective is to promote cities that provide core infrastructure, clean and sustainable environment, and gives a decent quality of life. You see, quality of life you can always bring in from polity, that is Article 21. Okay, very important. This is imperative. Quality of life, a sustainable environment, and also clean and core infrastructure. Now, This is all done through the application of smart solutions. So what are the important principles that you need to remember pertaining to this concept of urban infrastructure? You're going to remember these three schemes that we have discussed by the government, and along with that, the six fundamental principles that come into that play an important role in these schemes is convergence, technology as a means, okay, then integration, innovation and sustainability, then cooperative, competitive federalism, then the ability to generate greater outcomes with the use of lesser resources. So we'll simply understand it like more from less. And the last one is the community at the core. That is, communities at the core of planning and implementation. So communities at the core. So these are the important six principles that are common to all these three schemes here: 1, 2 and 3. So this is imperative. Please understand this. This is all about the urban infrastructure, the important bits that you need to know. The next concept that we have is the National Urban Digital Mission. Very important again. Let's see. So again, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, along with which ministry? The Ministry of Information and Technology. So these two ministries have launched together what? The National Urban Digital Mission. So name of the ministries is very important. Please understand there is not one but two. Under this National Urban Digital Mission, what is the aim? The aim is basically to improve urban connectivity. Okay, urban connectivity in nearly 2,535 cities. The aim is basically to build the shared digital infrastructure for urban India to provide a holistic support to cities and towns by working across three pillars of, what are the three pillars? The three pillars of urban infrastructure, or the three pillars of digital infrastructure for urban India, are people, processes and platforms. So these are the important things that you need to remember. Also, please understand that this is a citizen-centric, and this ecosystem is driven by the approach that urban governance and services will be delivered in the cities by the year 2022 and across all cities and towns in India by the year 2024. Okay, this is for all cities in India, but meanwhile, what's happening? The goal is for 2022. What are the important objectives of National Urban Digital Mission? It is basically to catalyze an urban national open digital ecosystem, to build new platforms, to come up with new solutions, and also to think of innovations. Okay. Then it also, focuses on creating open standards and enforcements for the adoption of open, you know, we can say national digital urban stakeholders. All of these examples can be used in here. The important thing that you need to understand is what is exactly the benefit of this. The benefit of this is that this is basically going to help in ease of doing business. Okay, then this would lower the cost for innovation through open data. Then this would foster national collaboration and national competition. It is also going to improve the targeting of policy. Then it is also going to improve the standard of living. It is also going to improve at the same time the ease of living. Then you can always add some points like, it is going to lead to improved financial management, easier access to information, and better decision support systems to manage the cities. Is this clear? The important thing that you need to remember here is the things that we have discussed here in blue, which are the objectives of it, and also the three pillars and the two ministries that are involved in this urban, that is National Urban Digital Mission. Okay. Then the third is National Logistics Policy. Very important concept again. Let's see about it. You see, the National Logistics Policy is definitely talking about the logistics sector. The logistic division of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry has unveiled the plans for freight smart cities. Okay, what is the freight smart city scheme? You see, 10 cities will be developed as freight smart cities. Further, an institutional mechanism involving the government, the private stakeholders like logistics service providers, users, and citizens will be set up. The focus here is to enhance the urban freight system. Okay, to enhance the urban freight system. And for doing this, measures have been taken in the sense that it will be divided into four categories. And what are the important four categories here? The first is the vehicle use. So vehicle use optimization will be there, then infrastructure development will be there, then demand and land planning, and lastly, technology. Adoption of the technology. So major drivers of logistic industry are what? You have to simply understand that it is urbanization, right? It is that manufacturing in India holds the potential to contribute to our GDP by the year 2025 up to 25 to 30%. And also this will help in improving the infrastructure nationwide. So these are the important concepts that you have to understand. But since we're talking about the logistics industry, you have to understand a little bit about the logistics industry in India. So you see, transportation is considered transportation is considered to be the most crucial logistic activity. This basically accounts for 50 to 60% of logistics costs, followed by warehousing. The size of logistics industry in India is $215 billion. Okay, it employs more than 22 million people. So these are the important facts about the logistics industry in India. The benefits of efficient logistics will basically facilitate 10% decrease in indirect logistics costs, which will lead to 5 to 8% of growth in exports. So this is why this concept becomes really important. Okay, you must also understand a little bit about the logistic cost distribution. Okay, so let's see. Almost this area of it is dealing with transportation. Like we just discussed, that transportation is one of the most important, crucial logistic activity. Okay, then one part of it is also dealing with value added logistics. Then other part is dealing with freight forwarding, and then there is warehousing. But what is the percentage of this? Okay, within the transportation, first you have to understand that we're going to include in road, we're going to include in rail, we are going to include in water and also air. But what are the percentages here? Very important, please understand. Majority of it is done by road, which is 36%, 19% by the rail, by water it is 5%, and by air it is 1%. Okay, so this is the bit from transportation. Then warehousing is dealing with 24%, freight forwarding is dealing with 10%, and value added logistics is dealing with a mere of 5%. So these are the important things that you need to understand. Also, since we're talking about the national logistics policy, the 5 pillars of the national logistics policy, which have been prepared in the draft, are: Pillar 1 discusses integrated logistics services, that is dealing with faster, cheaper, safer logistics services. Pillar 2 is dealing with efficient and multimodal transport infrastructure. Okay, this is basically modal shift from road to rail and water. As we have just discovered, if you look at this diagram here, we've simply understood that majority of it is done through roads, right? So the aim here is to also bring these into the picture or to increase their contribution here. So this is the second pillar, that is efficient and multimodal transport infrastructure. The third pillar is talking about meeting the logistics needs of core sectors of economy, that is driving efficiency and increasing the reliability. Then the fourth pillar is logistics for international competitiveness. Very important. International competitiveness. Connecting the local to global. Simply local to global. Okay, you can obviously add the exports point here. And the fifth and last pillar is talking about logistics for emergencies and disasters. So this is talking about basically building resilience. So these are the important points that you need to understand pertaining to national logistics policy. Please understand the ministry concerned here is Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Then the next concept that we're going to do is PM-Gati Shakti, very important, again under the same sector. Why was this in news? Because the Prime Minister of India launched 100 trillion rupee Gati Shakti or National Master Plan for Multimodal Connectivity for the simple reason that to expedite the infrastructure project implementation in India. Okay, what exactly is Gati Shakti? You see, Gati Shakti is essentially a digital platform that will not bring into the picture some industries, but sorry, some ministries, but a total of 16 ministries will come together. This will also include some of the important ones, for instance, railways, roadways, etc., for integrated planning. So the concept here is what? Integrated planning. Integrated planning and also coordination and implementation of that coordination of infrastructure connectivity projects. An integrated multimodal network planning group will be responsible for this unified planning and integration of proposals. The entire platform has been developed by, very important, it has been developed by Bhaskaracharya National Institute for Space Applications for space applications and geoinformatics. So simply BISAG. Remember this bit. This is one of the most important concepts can come in the exam. So since we're talking about Gati Shakti, in short, if you have to understand this concept, there are 6 important pillars which talk about the Gati Shakti. So what are these 6? The first is comprehensiveness. Comprehensiveness. The second one is prioritizing. That is, different departments will be able to prioritize their projects through cross-sectional interactions, because we're saying we're bringing in not one, not two, but a lot many ministries. For instance, we said there are going to be 16 of them. We've just discussed it here. Important ones like railways, roadways, finance, all of these are going to come into this picture. For what? For integrated planning and cooperation and coordination between them. Then the third one is optimization. The fourth one is synchronization. Then it is analytical and dynamic in nature. So these are the 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. What do I mean by dynamic? Basically, you see, when all ministries and departments will be able to, visualize, review and monitor the progress of cross-sectional projects, we simply see that the projects will not move at a static at a pace. They'll be dynamic in nature. Okay, there will be more information available. We'll be using GIS platforms. Satellites imagery will also be used. So there will be a regulated up to date information available on this portal for all the ministries to review and also to learn about the progress. So the simple concept of this is integrated planning, like we just discussed. And what? Integrated planning, or we can simply say to expedite the infrastructure project implementation in India. Very important. Okay, so this is all the important things that you need to know about it. Then the next one that we're going to do is CAG's report on Indian Railways. Of course, you can read a little bit about PM-Gati Shakti in a detailed manner, but these are the important things that you need to know. The last one that we're going to do now is on the railways. So this is CAG's report on Indian Railways. CAG has reported on Indian Railways finances, and this was something which was tabled in the parliament. This report paints a grim picture based on the earnings, based on the expenditure, the revenues, the reserves, and the operational efficiency of Indian Railways. So you must know that this report has been given by CAG. CAG is what? The Comptroller Auditor General. Okay. Now, what are the important things that are a part of this report? So that becomes very important. The first thing is that there is a decrease in total receipt by 8.30% in 2019 and 20 as compared to 6.47% increase in 2018 and 19. So there has been a decrease. This is the point that you need to remember. Then there is cross subsidization by utilizing profits from freight traffic to compensate for the losses on operations of passenger and other coaching services. Okay, so cross subsidization. Then there is a heavy dependence of railways for transportation of coal. And as you can obviously connect this point with the current coal crisis, you can understand if you're reading newspaper, and if not, I'll just let you know that there is a current coal crisis happening in the country. You all must be seeing that there are, electricity cutoffs and everything. This is basically happening because of the coal crunch. Okay, the one of the reasons behind this is that there are not enough, there are not enough rail tracks and not enough, I'm forgetting the right word right now, but there are not enough containers that can basically transport coal from one place to another. Container is obviously not the correct word here. Rakes, actually, yeah, that's the correct word. So there are not enough availability of these. Of course, the railway has recently they've raised the need that they need another lakh of them, but of course that's going to take some time, and during this we are all facing the coal crunch at the moment, but that is for another time. The focus here is simply on understanding the point that there is a heavy dependence when it comes to coal on our Indian railways. Around 49% of the total freight earnings during the year 2019 and 20 came from the transportation of coal. Okay, then the next point is that the operation ratio is deteriorating to 98.36% in 2019 to 20 from 97.29% in the year 2018 and 19. Now, what is the OR ratio? What is the operating ratio? So you must always understand if you're using these abbreviations. Operating ratio is basically the ratio of working expenditure, that is expenses arising from day-to-day operations of the railways, to the revenue earned from traffic. To the revenue earned from traffic. So what does this basic, these numbers that we have written here, what do they simply mean? You see, a higher ratio basically indicates a poor ability to generate surplus that can be used for capital investments, right? Now, railways finances, this is an important bit which gives us an insight into how it is performing, what needs to be done, and all of this. So, these are the important points. But what is imperative is that you understand that this is a report which has been given by who? By the CAG. And this was something which was tabled in the parliament, and it paints a grim picture. I'm saying it again. It paints a grim picture based on the earnings, expenditure, revenue reserves, and operational efficiency of the Indian railways. So these are the important concepts that we had to discuss today uh, from the infrastructure subject. So this is it. Thank you for watching.